9 Plus Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together. Welcome back, baseball family, to another episode of the Baseball Together podcast. Woo! We are super excited to be here today, and we have a lot to cover. Well, you wouldn't believe that with all of the baseball that has not been happening, but there's a lot of baseball talks, and as we will get into later, there are a lot of baseball ideas. And sometimes that's all you need, apparently, to run an entire league. So, anyway, like I said, we're going to talk about current events. We're going to bring you the games of the week that we watched, and then we had some questions come up in the Facebook group, and I've got a new segment I'm going to throw at you. So, without further ado, let's get into this.
Yeah.
Brad.
Yeah.
Tell us about Miggy, Miguel Cabrera. He's being Miggy still.
Miggy's being Miggy, that's right. And we couldn't ask for anything better, let's be honest. So I stumbled across this article actually while we were sitting here talking and kind of figuring out what we were going to talk about, because that's kind of how we do things. And
shh, don't give shh.
A little peek behind the curtain. But anyways,
Yes,
so this is a quote from Dave Vavra. He's the Detroit Tigers hitting coach. And so he says, all winter long I would call him and text him, I'd get no reply. Then in spring I said, how come you didn't answer my calls? He said, because I gave you someone else's number. He said, okay, I hear you. So so basically, I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. Miggy gave the hitting coach a fake number so he would leave him alone during the off season, so he wouldn't be checking up on him. You know, you getting your reps in, you hitting off your tee, you hitting soft toss, whatever. That he didn't want him to bug him. And I mean, if anybody's going to ghost their hitting coach, I mean, he's kind of earned it, right?
Well, yeah, I would say 17 years, 2,400 games, 10,236 plate appearances. I mean, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and what's he hitting? What's his average right now? What's he hitting and slugging career-wise?
All right, slugging, career slugging, 543. And his career average is 315.
Yeah, I'd say he's earned it.
So, if anybody's got the right to ghost their hitting coach, it's Miggy.
Yeah. Unreal. So funny, and just like
it is unreal.
Just Miggy being Miggy. It's so funny. I love it.
Yeah.
He's one of the good
fabulous
personalities in baseball. I like that guy a lot. He's a lot of fun.
So Major League Baseball and Minor League Baseball are now negotiating more aggressively this 42-team contraction within the minor leagues, Brad.
Mm-hmm.
This makes me so sad. So terribly sad. And I knew that this was going to happen. I knew that if this COVID-19 thing lasted any longer than it already has, that this would be the perfect excuse for them to cut those teams.
That's right.
And it's going to be devastating. And what do you think?
I mean, it is. It really is. But on the other hand, I mean, you think about those minor league teams, nobody picks up and moves around more than minor league baseball does. I mean, the team that we both have, our ties to, the Orem Owls, a couple of years ago, they were talking about moving to somewhere in Colorado so they could sell beer in the stadium because they play at a stadium on a dry campus, so they can't sell any beer. And the owner was like, well, I want to make more money. Let's go somewhere we can sell beer. Oh, look, Colorado will take us. Let's go there. And that was a conversation that happened, I mean, I want to say kind of overnight, and I don't know if that's still in the works because he had like a stadium drawn up and everything he was going to build.
Yep.
And, with...
It's over.
Well, and with losing their affiliation with minor league baseball, then, they could be part of that dream league or just independent, and they could pick up and move even more easily because of the desire to make money, So, it's like, it's kind of that double-edged sword that nobody moves around more than minor league baseball teams do, but at the same time, they kind of need that minor league baseball affiliation to really give themselves the credibility and make money, So it's kind of the trouble with it.
Well, we think. See, because nobody's ever done this Dream League thing before. It might be the greatest thing ever.
It could be. Yeah.
I hesitate to say that, but with the right business model and with the right leadership, it could be something great. We don't know.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's going to contract the geography. It's going to reduce they're not going to take 42 teams out of minor league baseball and maintain 42 clubs in a different setup. They won't do that. It will be fewer teams.
Yeah.
So who knows? I think, but at the end of the day, we're going to get less baseball, and that's bad.
It's true. But on the other side of that coin, they are contracting 42 teams, but they're adding 2 teams from the independent league. They're going to be adding the St. Paul Saints and the Sugar Land Skeeters, which I feel like are probably the most popular, or the most well-known independent teams, right? Because, like we said, the St. Paul Saints have had a lot of gimmicks, and Bill Murray is or was a partial owner and wore actually a St. Paul Saints hat in Space Jam. Did you notice that?
Right. Yeah, I did know that.
And then
it's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome, and I love it. But then the Sugar Land Skeeters, there's a lot of former big leaguers who went and played for them for a couple of years. Like I remember Roger Clemens went and played for them for a few months, and I think his son pitched for them as well. But those are the 2 most well known, and it looks like they're going to get brought into minor league baseball, have a official affiliation. Which is funny to me because it is great, but it's also kind of funny because I know the St. Paul Saints have a lot of gimmicks that they do at their stadium. Like their old stadium had train tracks running through the outfield.
What?
Yeah, that's a real thing. So they would be out there and they'd have to it was almost like game off, train, game on, like a Wayne's World thing. but yeah,
fabulous.
You can't do stuff like that anymore if you're affiliated with minor league baseball, I feel like. So that'll be interesting to see some of the stuff.
Some of that showmanship out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great for them, great for those communities, because I know the St. Paul Saints are incredibly popular, and they're just right down the road from the Minnesota Twins. So that could be good for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be good for everybody.
Literally down the road.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, okay, we got to I know we've been having a good time, but we got to have a bad time for a minute. You got to have both. You got to have balance on the show. Wait, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Let's talk about this Red Sox thing. the punishment.
Are you doing air quotes, quote unquote?
Oh,
punishment?
Dude, I don't know if there's a stronger way to do air quotes. I need to know. Somebody write in and explain to me how else we can I don't know if I need to do that or not, but
yeah, I don't know. But
you'll see it later. I gestured heavily. It's really bad. Anyway, basically what happened was JT Watkins was the Red Sox replay guy, and he's the only one getting punished.
Yeah. And even after he said, "Oh yeah, I told these guys not to look at what I'm doing because it was cheating," right? I'm so sick of Rob Manfred being like, "Oh, we can't punish the players because I don't want to deal with that. Let's punish somebody else on the peripheral. How about we'll suspend Joey Cora? Oh wait, no, he was already suspended for the Astros. We'll suspend him for the Astros stuff because that's more
not
involved.
Joey, Alex.
That's what I meant. Yeah, Alex Cora. Sorry. So Alex Cora is suspended.
Okay, you're a Mariners fan.
I know. Yeah. So Alex Cora is suspended for a year because of his role with the Astros sign stealing. No punishment in addition to the Red Sox sign stealing.
No. Why would we stack punishments for 2 separate violations? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And we'll get into that a little bit later.
What is this, single jeopardy?
I know. No, it's so bad.
Come on.
It's so bad.
So my buddy, I have a good friend of mine, he's coming on the show in the next couple weeks. He's promised me that he's coming. He's a huge Red Sox fan.
Sweet.
And he said his name's Mike. You guys will meet him. He said he read it in an article somewhere. He said that if Rob Manfred were a prosecutor under any legal jurisdictional sort of responsibility at all, and he took this long and spent this much money running an investigation and managing a case, and these are the results he came back with, fired.
Oh,
immediately lose his job.
Yeah, absolutely. For real, I saw this as he clearly just wanted this off of his desk. He saw it sitting on the side. He's like, "This is still here. Just get out. Just get out of here." Well, you got to punish somebody. What's the first name I see on this report? J.T. Watkins. Suspend that guy. He can't have his job back for a couple of years. That guy right there.
That guy. Burn him off with his head.
And then, like, only kind
seriously.
of, though.
Yeah, yeah, but was that harsh? Yeah, boss, that was pretty harsh. Okay, only a little bit then. Maybe just slap his wrist. Can we slap his wrist? Yeah, we can slap his wrist, boss. Slap his wrist,
but not too hard. Don't slap it too hard. Don't slap it too hard.
Yeah. If he bruises, I'm coming after you. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that guy can't make a decision, man. It's unreal. It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. I don't get it.
I
don't understand him. And here's the thing. I'm not disappointed. And I was telling you this, or I was telling Mike this the other day. I'm not disappointed because that would mean I would have had any faith in Rob Manfred left.
Yeah.
But none. I don't. So I'm not disappointed. I'm not surprised. It's not upsetting, really. I mean, it's upsetting on like the moral or ethical level. But I'm not upset with Rob because I could not have been more upset already. So I had nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, he's the worst commissioner in the history of commissioners.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Absolutely. For reals.
Jeez.
Yeah. There's no punishment. There's no order. You know that he's basically riding the coattails of Bud Selig still. He hasn't done anything proactive.
Even Bud Selig did some good.
Yeah.
He drew
it
lines.
may have come late, but he did it.
Yeah, and he drew some lines, and he talked out of both sides of his mouth, and he went back on some stuff, and I know, I get it. But at the end of the day, Bud Selig, you knew, I mean, he threw his weight around when it was required, maybe late, like you say. But I mean, it was wet noodle stuff from Rob Manfred makes me think, like, who's actually running the show? Is there some cabal of Hall of Famers out there? Like, nah, man, don't. It's like, don't punish the players, man. That would be terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm just waiting for the day and the owners are fed up with him enough and they just like, okay, you're gone. You're done.
Yeah.
But
well, the owners won't do it because they're not getting punished either.
Well, you would think
they love this. They probably love this guy.
Though. You think that they want if guys are cheating, you'd want to level the playing field, and get out of some of those contracts. But I don't know, man. I just don't know.
I don't know either.
It's ridiculous.
Who cares? Let's talk about what the season might look like.
Possibly.
Again.
Probably not.
Again. Because Rob Manfred, what was it you that said? You tell him what you heard Manfred said.
So it's this quote on this article on CBS that I actually read. He told Fox Business, he says, "From our perspective, we don't have a plan. We have lots of ideas. Well, ideas come to fruition depends on what the restrictions are. So no plans, just ideas floating around the commissioner's office, just in the ether."
We don't have any plans.
Yeah. And I understand the whole restrictions thing, but just like it's like, okay, just plan on we're not going to have fans in the stadium this year because that's the way it's got to be. Maybe let's start moving
that
these
would be a plan.
ideas. It would be, yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to help him figure out how to make a plan. Is what I'm doing.
He can't
maybe
help.
send some of those ideas in the direction, but
remedial. Remedial training. Here's how you make a plan. Okay, you take an idea.
Yeah.
You should probably write it down. Then there has to be a start date and an end date.
Yeah.
If you do it in red crayon, it's easier to see.
That's what she said. I'm curious if he does a piece of paper with all these scribbled down, or like even possibly a whiteboard with some stuff on it. I don't know if he's gone that far.
Oh wow, that's advanced.
That is advanced.
That's advanced decision making.
That's true. A whiteboard is the next step to a plan, right? Going from
that's how you know. That's how you know it's serious. Rob Manfred's there with his Crayola box. He's looking at the Crayola box like, well,
And now that I think about it, it's probably not even on a piece of paper. I bet it's just on a napkin.
Oh yeah,
so
he tried with the crayon on the napkin, and the napkin tore, and he went, "Well, I guess it wasn't a good idea." So the proposal. Let's get back on track. The proposal is that what?
Well, so let's recap. Let's recap real quick. So initially we had all the teams in Arizona, and then we had extended Cactus League, extended Grapefruit League. Now, this plan is 3 states. Go ahead, Brig.
So what they want to do is they want to put I think 10 teams in Arizona, 10 teams in Texas, and 10 teams in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, Brad, they have stadiums with roofs on them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no adverse weather conditions to worry about. They can play right through. They can have double headers. They can do whatever they want to do because they can control the environment. Now, that makes good sense, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
And this is probably the only time in my life I've been grateful for stadiums with roofs on them.
I'm all about it, man.
Yeah, I know you are.
I'll say it again. Everybody should have a retractable roof. That's my opinion.
Yeah, as long as they get stuck open, everything's fine. Okay, so there goes me, Brig, being old school again. All right, so
I'll get off your lawn. I'm sorry.
Yeah, get off my lawn. And don't step on the... Okay, anyway, here's the deal. 10 teams in each of the 3 states. We don't know what that means. There's not a lot of specificity in the planning. Oh, excuse me, in the idea.
The idea.
Yeah. Sorry. But what we have talked about there being is if there's 10 teams in 3 different locations, then what we would have is 6 division races, 3 leagues. I don't know how you break that out to earn your piece of metal at the end of the season.
I don't know.
Thanks, Rob. Here, I'm gonna do that big. The big air quote thing. Piece of metal. There, it's better. It's like the My Wayne's World thing, like you said. It's kind of what it looks like. You'll see. What do you think of this idea, Brad?
I think parts of it work. I mean, like we said before, the retractable roof thing, because it gets hot. It gets really hot in Arizona. It gets really hot in Texas. Hot and humid in Florida. And plus, you are going to have random rainy days in a couple of those places. So you don't want to have rainouts. I like the idea of the retractable roofs because this idea, again, mentioned teams in Arlington could go to Houston and play at Minute, where they also have a retractable roof.
Right.
They could go from Miami, where they have a retractable roof, to Tampa, St. Petersburg, wherever it is, where it's straight up indoor. So you've got roofs everywhere. The only problem, what's that?
I said it's in a tunnel, but go ahead. Sorry.
In a tunnel. Yeah. The only problem is in Phoenix, you only have one roof.
Right.
In order to get to the next closest one, you would have to go to either Arlington or Seattle. I don't know which is closer.
Yeah. Arlington's closer, but
not much, right? Because it's a ways.
Oh no, I think it's much closer to Phoenix.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, I've driven it. I'm pretty sure it's closer.
Yeah, that is. Now that I think about it, I'm thinking Texas is like the size of Alaska there for a minute. But anyways, so your next closest roof is in Arlington. So I could see you're playing triple headers in the roof at Chase Field. That's 6 teams to get to play a day, right?
Wow.
But then you've still got 4 teams that are playing out in 115, 120 degree heat because you don't have another roof. So that's one of the logistics that you run into there. It works fine. I feel like in Texas works pretty well in Florida. But Arizona is where you're gonna run into the problem.
Okay, so could you do 20 and 20? Or 15 and 15, I mean, sorry. 15. Could you do 15 and 15?
15 in Texas, 15 in
Florida? Yeah.
I think you could.
Because then you could still have 3 5-team divisions and have some kind of wild card situation for how to fill that.
Yeah.
And then it would be East versus West, sort of.
That almost might work better because you've got the 2 stadiums that you're splitting the workload with.
That's right.
Yeah, so you got 3 games.
Phoenix makes no sense.
No, it's too hot. It's too hot to not have a roof.
Right.
Because you could have 3 games in Arlington, 3 games in Texas. That's 12 teams, and then have 3 teams a day have a day off.
Bingo.
Right.
Hey, Rob. Hey, Rob. We
figured it out for you.
You got your crayons, Rob? We use a blue crayon for this one, Rob. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean, and I feel like it's getting a little mean-spirited, so I'm sorry. But God, jeez, I am frustrated.
It is really frustrating, and for me, the thing that's frustrating is to see that, like, oh, we have this idea. They have these ideas coming out, but there's nothing concrete for, like, and I understand that, depending on how far out the season goes,
yeah,
like how much it gets pushed back, you've got to adjust things and things like that. But at the same time, you've got to have a contingency plan of some kind. Like if the season comes back, this is what we're planning on doing right now.
Right. Like the minute the CDC and the government says you go ahead, man, like whatever, use your best discretion, then there should be an immediately implementable plan. And here's the problem. The players have to be comfortable with it as well, right? There's still the issue of social distancing, and even when the government kind of lifts the ban and the stay-at-home orders in these states start to kind of relax a little bit, you still have to get the buy-in from the individuals. And so I think
there are some guys who have
there.
problems with it. Other guys are fine with it. If you ask Scott Boras, he says all of his guys are good with it. Of course, he's going to say that because he wants the money.
Yeah,
but
Scotty B.
Yeah, but I've seen guys who said, I'm not leaving my wife and brand new baby for 6 months or however long. I've seen other people who, like, I've talked to my wife, and if this is the way we get paid this year, this is what we do. This is how it works.
See, and that's what I'm saying. So between the Players Association and Major League Baseball, they should at least have a plan, and then they should have a plan to mitigate those concerns. They should be doing research into what players' concerns are, and I'm sure they are. I hope they are. It's the Players Association is not being run by Rob Manfred, so it's probably some forward thinking there, and they've got a lot of research to do to understand what it would take for people to feel comfortable, and if they can overcome those preemptively, then the minute we get an opportunity to play baseball, they can have a proposal. Hey, here's what we're gonna do. What do you think?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the nail on the head right there. Have a plan and adjust it as you need to.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that's the way it needs to be. I agree with you.
Let's take a break. Let's stay tuned for the public service announcement. Please stay home. We want to make sure everybody stays safe, slow this thing down, and we're grateful you're here with us. Luckily, we can do this through social distancing. So wherever you're at your home, hopefully on your commute if you're an essential worker, then please stay safe, and thanks for everything you're doing for everybody else.
COVID-19, better known as coronavirus, has spread throughout the world. There are a few ways to help lower the spread of this respiratory disease. Wash your hands. Avoid touching your face, including mouth, nose, and eyes. Cover your coughs and sneezes. Monitor your symptoms and consult with your doctor. Stay at home and away from other sick people except for medical care. Clean and disinfect high-touch surfaces. For more information, please visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. Thank you.
Welcome back, baseball family. So we played the COVID-19 PSA, and I actually discovered something the other day. I had to go to the store for something, and I have my bandana on as a mask because I haven't got my Corona mask yet. On the way. I'll show you when I get it. Anyway, so I had my bandana, and I was like, gosh, this thing just not staying in place. Have you had that problem, Brig?
Well, no, I wear a surgical mask, so.
Oh, there you go. Wait. Yeah, see, I wear a bandana. It's actually Yeah, so I wear the bandana as a mask, but I happen to be wearing my perfect hat. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to try something. And I discovered, check this out. If you tie it to the snap on the back of your hat, it will stay in place. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to take my glasses off. I'm going to demonstrate.
Oh, live demonstrations.
Is live demonstration.
Live.
I'll show you how this works.
It's high quality entertainment right here for those of you
Put
watching.
the hat on a little bit. Pull the mask down over your face so you can't talk into your microphone. And then your headset falls off. That happens too. And then it's much easier when you don't have an earpiece in. And then this is only for YouTube people. This is not good content for the audio podcast.
No, it's
You
good.
pull it
It's
up.
funny, actually.
And then pull it up over your nose and then cinch it in the back. Nice and tight. Stays in place. Check that out on
Bam.
YouTube. And yeah, I'm going to do a little tutorial. I'm going to take this off so I can actually talk now. Going to do a little tutorial, and we'll put that up on everywhere, all the gizmos. And I can put my hat back on so you don't have to look at my bald head. I put my glasses on so I can see. But anyways, so it actually works really well if you're not fighting uphill with things like an earpiece, and and yeah, it holds it in place. So like I said, I'll do a little tutorial video. You can see how it works, and it's awesome. I loved it once I figured it out. Fantastic. So
That's fantastic. And your Corona
Anyways.
mask will be there on Thursday. I just looked.
Perfect.
We shipped it. It'll be there Thursday.
Well, hey, you're only supposed to wear stuff out once, so I can wear the Corona mask one day and then wear the bandana if that's still in the wash.
Wash
so
it. Yeah.
It works.
There you go.
It works. Yeah.
Sweet.
So, all right. Well, we've been talking about how there's no baseball. Everybody knows no baseball, no sports right now. It's awful. It's painful. So what Brig and I are doing to get through is we're watching old baseball games. Brig, what game did you watch this week?
Bro, I let my wife decide.
Nice.
Yeah. She's home from the hospital, so I let her decide. And I said,
Sweet.
I said, babe, she said, I don't care. I'm like, come on, you gotta choose. She said, no, I don't care. I just want to watch baseball with you. I said, oh, right. But anyway, in the end, she decided we
Did you say that's the sexiest thing you've ever said? to me?
Man, no kidding. Holy moly. Wish she wasn't. Anyway, never mind. She's so sick. But anyway,
Yeah.
Point is, we picked November 2nd, 2016. Game 7 of the 2016 World
Oh.
Series in honor of my wife, the Cubs fan. And
Yeah.
and it'll never be as magical as it was in real life, IRL.
Right.
But it was fantastic. We were watching all so in the vault on YouTube, MLB's got some of the pregame, like one of the pregame hype videos that they led with before they started the Joe Buck commentary. And it was,
yeah.
we looked at each other, we're like, oh man, we got all like weepy and all hot and bothered about it. It was really, really exciting. So as we're watching the game, we're progressively, and you know what? I could talk about the game all day long, but I feel like I have before. So let me talk about some of the emotions that we had that day, November 2, 2016, and then again today. So we just remember we're sitting there, and some of the stories have progressively gotten better, and some of them have gotten worse. Addison Russell's a great example. Corey Kluber breaking his arm, another example. It's so some of these stories have been a little bit painful to relive retroactively, but most of them have been very, very satisfying. Like Javi Baez being even better now than he was that day, where he made at least 2 errors or whatever it was. And you're like, come on, man, it's Game 7 of the World Series. Quit trying to barehand it. But you know what? That's what makes Javi. So it is.
That's right.
It's okay, and they won. And so Chicago had 3 errors that night, 2 of which were on Javi Baez. Anyway, so
Brutal, man.
So the first inning, the leadoff batter, Dexter Fowler, crushes it. I think it was the third pitch. Goes all the way out.
Mm-hmm.
Guess how many other times in the history of baseball a Game 7 World Series has opened with a leadoff home run? Because I looked it up.
Oh, man. Oh, geez. I
How about
maybe two other
how about
times?
just up until that day? Let's say that. Up until that day, how many times had there been a Game 7 leadoff batter home run?
So he didn't lead off the game, though, right? Because he was playing for the Cubs?
Yeah, you let off the game because they were playing in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, they're in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still haven't watched that game, by the way. I need to
Yeah,
watch.
because you're guilty, Brad, of some major poopy pantsery on this one.
It's true. Yes. Yeah. Well, and
That's too bad.
never mind. I was just saying, I didn't watch the game not because I didn't want to, because I was working.
Yeah, I
But
know
anyways,
you were working.
I would say two times before that.
0.
0. Never.
That was the first time in Major League Baseball history a Game 7 had been led off with a home run.
Wow.
I know. I was like, what?
What?
Literally, the minute the game started, it was like history in the making. You know, Cubs first World Series appearance in 108 years, and the Indians have it. I think it was 68 years since the Indians had won a World Series. 108 years since the Cubs have won a World Series. Anyway, it's just historic. It's like the whole thing was just madness. And so anyway, the Cleveland ties it up in the third. Cubs pull off 2 runs in the fourth, which were amazing. Sack fly and then a tag up from third. Chris Bryant comes home, slides under the tag. Just, and Perez, the catcher, the Cleveland's catcher, Perez, is just phenomenal. I mean, he's just so solid. I wouldn't say he's the greatest of all time or anything like that. I don't even think he's destined for that, but he's incredibly solid. So, I mean, he's just on display all night long. So anyway, Cubs pull ahead 3-1 in the fourth, and then both teams score 2 runs in the fifth. 6th inning, Chicago scores another run. Well, this word starts to get real good, bro. In the 7th inning, it goes scoreless both ways, but then 3 runs in the 8th inning for Cleveland. And I was like, no! You know, I was like, no. Same. Was just like, it was because my wife's a Cubs fan, so we were watching it. We were on the wagon. I was on the wagon all of 2016. I mean, like all of it. Because there was some magic building the whole season, man. You could feel it. It was so palpable. And then with Joe Madden being there, and just, oh, man. Look, that was the year, 2016's the year I had my back surgery as well. So we're just sitting in my recliner all year long. I had my back surgery in March. Hello. So I just sat there. I went to physical therapy. I come home every day, sit, watch baseball. It was fantastic. So when they start,
I can think of worse ways to spend a summer.
I could think of, yes, me too. And then when it was time, the Owls opened up. I felt pretty good at going outside, and so I'd go to baseball games outside. It's one of the only things I could do where I felt comfortable with. And so, listen, all you people out there who are listening, if you have back problems, I'm telling you right now, one of the most comfortable seats in the world is some baseball stadium seating. Most. I will say most. I have tons of stuff going on. I'm in pain all the time, and I am never in pain at a baseball game. It is bizarre, man. That makes no sense because they are the simple.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
They're simple, like hardback, sort of rigid, but I'm almost never in pain at a baseball game. So
that's awesome.
yeah, and maybe that has to do with the atmosphere, and it's baseball, and it's me, and there's a lot of factors that might go into that. But anyway, that is not about the game of the week, but that's about the season I experienced. We watched all the baseball we could, and my wife was pregnant at the same time, so we sat there. Yeah, try doing that, back surgery and then pregnant. It's like that was bad planning. We didn't plan it. Anyway, point of the story is the Cubs. The Indians scored 3 runs in the 8th, and then nobody scored in the 9th, so we go into extra innings, right? And here comes this old rain delay. Now, what was it, like the 4th inning, they sub in John Lester. Wilson Contreras started the game for the Cubs behind the plate, and Jordan Montgomery Kyle Hendricks was fantastic. Just really fantastic. He got up through 4, and they sub out Hendricks for Lester, 4th or the 5th, I can't remember, and then John Lester says, "I'm not doing it without David Ross." He made that stipulation early on in the season. It wasn't ever questioned. Everybody knew that's what was going to happen. So Lester and Rossi are warming up in the bullpen, and that means that Contreras is coming out of the game. And everybody's like, whoa, that's like, why would you ever do that? Right?
Yeah.
So they pull him out. They put in David Ross. They put in John Lester. Everything's on the line. It's Game 7. And then they had more pitching changes and things like that, et cetera. And David Ross stayed in. He was their backup. That day he was the backup catcher. So he stays in, and then I think he was 40 or 39 that year. He said
either way, it was his last game of his career.
Last game ever of his entire career.
Yeah.
And he said, it was like, look, I'm not playing again. This is it. No matter what happens at the end of this season, I'm done. And he gets up and he hits a home run in Game 7 of the World Series from the bench. And, look, man, it does not get better than that. Man, the last game you ever play is Game 7 of the World Series. You're super old for baseball. Still super capable, but super old. He's a catcher. Gets subbed in because his buddy's on the mound, and he hits a home run. And it was like, oh! It was like pandemonium, just at the house, right? We were watching with all our family, and it was pandemonium. It was pandemonium here, just years later, 4 or 5 years later. 4, I can do math. It's 4 years later, pandemonium. Anyway, dude, Game 7, 2016, arguably the best baseball game I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's good every time. Yeah. It's the stories behind it are what make it magical. The Cubs and the Cleveland Indians having those franchise droughts. The way Joe Maddon put together the team with the people he had and the places he had them. The same with Cleveland, with Tito, right? Terry Francona. It's the same. All the stories and all the personalities and all the development, everything that led up to it. And then the rain delay. And then the Cubs won. And the Cubs ended up winning in the 10th. And they scored 2 runs in the 10th. And hold on. Where'd it go? Yeah, 2 runs in the 10th. Cleveland scored 1 run in the 10th. Not enough. 8-7 Cubs.
Yeah.
Magic.
Yeah.
That was my game.
Well, and you mentioned the way that team was put together. And we've both read The Cubs Way. Is that what that book's called? Yeah. Yeah. If you're like a fan of that team or anything, or really just like, I don't know, baseball, because I'm not a big Cubs fan at all, especially that year. I was so sick of them by the end of the season. I wanted them to lose.
Yeah, you did.
But The Cubs Way, it's a great book.
It's fantastic.
It really puts a lot of perspective on how that whole thing was put together, and which is what I love. How teams are put together, things like that. It's cool. It gives pretty much everybody's backstory, and it's awesome.
Yeah, because they go way back really to when those players were first drafted and how they were selected and all that 4 or 5 years earlier. No, it's comprehensive, and it's written like a novel. It's honestly a storybook. Yeah, it's fabulous. Yeah. All right, Brad, that was way too long. Tell me about the game you watched. Sorry.
So I watched Game 7 of the 2001 World
Oh, yeah.
Series. Yeah, there's a reason I chose this game, but I'm going to leave that little cliffhanger, little
Oh.
tease for a few weeks from now. So, anyway, this was a fantastic game. This is awesome. It was like the first little bit of it was kind of slow. It was, Curt Schilling was, you can't say he was perfect through the first 6 innings, but he faced the minimum. The only reason he wasn't perfect was because Paul O'Neill got thrown out at third in the top of the first inning trying to stretch out a triple. Other than that, he sent everybody down in order. At one point, he struck out 5 of 7 Yankees. Amazing.
And 2001 Yankees.
Yeah, 2001 Yankees. This is the tail end of the dynasty. You've got, let's look at this real quick. I was watching this game. I was like, gosh, that guy was still playing. Yeah, no wonder they were winning every game. He had Jeter leading off. Paul O'Neill. It was Paul O'Neill's very last game before he retired. Bernie Williams, Tino Martinez, Jorge Posada, Shane Spencer, Alfonso Soriano.
Yep.
Scott Brocious, and then Roger Clemens pitched. And by the way, Roger Clemens, when he was hitting, he looked like a right-handed.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly right.
Yeah, he can't say that he did not do steroids because he looked just like Jason Giambi, just right-handed. He was huge. He was huge. Unreal.
Yeah.
Because looking back, I was like, maybe he was just like fat and old. No, he was
jacked.
Mm-hmm. He was huge.
You're right.
There's no way he went from what he was to that big without artificial.
Well, he was
inflation.
always stocky, but he wasn't. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like Barry Bonds.
Barry
Bonds went from like whip it thin and wiry to the friggin' Hulk smash.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the same transformation, but
Yeah.
it was there.
Yeah, he got real big. So anyway, really uneventful game into this bottom of the 6th inning. The Diamondbacks would get guys on, but then Clemens doing what he does would get out of it. So the bottom of the 6th inning, finally you've got Steve Finley, who leads off with a single, and then Danny Batista smoked. By the way, this guy was killing the ball. The night before, in Game 6, the D-backs beat the Yankees 15-2. And that's how actually Danny Batista ended up in the lineup, was because he was like 4 for 4 or something like that.
Talk about that.
He was hitting the cover off the ball.
We don't talk about
So,
Game 6.
He comes in here. So he comes in here and he smokes a ball down to left center field, just left of the 413 marker, and Finley comes all the way around and scores. Batista's thrown out at third, and that pretty much kills that rally that could have been. But at the same time, this is the interesting thing about that. Bob Brenly, the Diamondbacks manager at the time, clearly a big small ball guy. If you watch this game start to finish, you can see that he was a big advocate of small ball. In fact, he said right after that, he took the bunt side off. He's like, I'm going to let him have a whack at it, because he called for a bunt on the first pitch, and then after that, he told him to swing away, and well,
It did.
paid off. So the D-backs take a 1-0 lead. Going to the top of the 7th, the Yankees finally get something going against Schilling. Jeter leads off the single. O'Neill hits a line drive to center, and then Bernie Williams grounds out to the right side, which is what he was trying to do that entire at bat. You watch his swing, you watch the way he's approaching the ball, and he was trying to hit a ground ball to the right side. Succeeded, but then Craig Counsell, I think it was just the positioning and how slow the ball was going. They're only able to get one out at second base. Got runners on the corners, 1 out now.
Right.
Okay. And Tino Martinez comes up here, who I feel like is an underrated postseason player.
Agreed.
Very good.
Yep.
Very good player. Hits a ground ball to right. Jeter scores 1-1. And then you go into you go to the top of the 8th. Yeah, exactly. You go to the top of the 8th. Soriano hits a leadoff bomb to left center field. Like, he hit that ball, and I haven't watched this game since I watched it live in 2001, and I had no idea what was happening. And he hit that ball. I was like, oh yeah, there it is. 2-1. Just crushed it. Just crushed that ball. So then you've got Yankees up,
Right.
2-1. Okay, what does Joe Torre decide to do going to the bottom of the 8th? Mariano Rivera coming in for a 6-out save.
Of course.
Ruh-roh.
Of course.
Now, I'm not a big fan of the 6-out save because you could have a situation like what the Diamondbacks had there. You had Luis Gonzalez lead off against Mo. And at that point, he was 0 for 3. He struck out 0 for 4 on the night. Okay? You bat around because you had, let me get my notes back here. Mo faced 4 batters in the 8th. Comes into the 9th. You've got Mark Grace leads off with a single up the middle. They bring in a pinch runner. Then you've got Miller bunts, but then Rivera throws the ball into center field. Everybody's safe. And the thing about this, too, that I think was crucial at some points in the game was that, so Jeter earlier in the game, he made a play where he kind of scooped the ball and threw kind of running off his back foot. It looked like he had like tweaked a hamstring or something doing that. Well, when on this play, I think it was LaDuca. Nope. DeLucci. Dyslexic.
LaDucci.
Slid in and kind of took out.
I don't
Is
know.
it LaDucci? It's you're making me question. It's DeLucci. David DeLucci. I knew I had my notes right. Anyway, he comes in and takes out Jeter's right leg. And so he's twisted up and he's limited after that. And then you've got a couple more guys get on, and then Womack, Tony Womack hits a ball into right field. That brings a pinch runner, Cummings. Midri, I don't know how to say his first name. Anyway, Midri Cummings comes in to score. You've got a tie ball game.
Yeah, it's painful.
Okay. Then you've got runners on second and third. Craig Counsell at the plate. You can't pitch around Counsell for a couple of reasons. One, that would load up the bases with winning run on third base and force outs. But at the same time, and you also don't, because Luis Gonzalez comes up after Counsell.
No.
You don't want to face that guy, right? Well, just so happens Counsell gets hit in the hand/arm. So now you do have the bases loaded. 1 out. Luis Gonzalez comes up. This is his second time facing Mariano Rivera that night. And that's why I don't like the 6-out save. Because if he had been able to get through the order, if he hadn't had that error, that throwing error to second, and been able to get through it, it wouldn't have been an issue. But Luis Gonzalez comes up 0 for 4 on the night, and this is something I thought was really interesting. Tim McCarver, the color guy for Fox Broadcasting with Joe Buck, says Rivera generates a lot of broken bat singles shallow in the outfield to left-handers. That's the problem with bringing the infield in here. Had everybody in trying to get the force out at home instead of having the middle infield back and double play depth. Well, if you look at where Luis Gonzalez hit that ball, broken bat to the back of the dirt. I think if Jeter had been in double play depth, he'd have caught that ball. That's just my thought, but I made sure to look at where that ball landed when he pointed out the infield in, and I think he could have made a play on that ball if he'd been playing double play depth instead of in. So that's an interesting little thing, and then they come in and score and win the game. But yeah, it was a fun game to watch for me. I remember specifically watching that because I was kind of walking around the house watching it. We had it on the TV downstairs. We had it on the TV upstairs in my parents' room, and I was walking through my parents' room, and I was like, okay, after this batter, I'll run downstairs and I'll get my spot on the couch or after this pitch even, and I specifically remember Gonzalez hitting that ball up the middle and having it land on the back of the dirt and coming in. I was like, oh my gosh. It's like they just walked off against Mariano Rivera to win the World Series. That is insane.
It was insane.
But it's absolutely insane, especially after that game, back and forth. That was one of the most exciting games. I mean, like I said, it was Schilling put on a clinic. Randy Johnson came in the 8th inning and pitched the 8th and 9th for the D-backs. And he's always been one of my favorite pitchers. I was so happy to see that guy get a ring. It was exciting. It was a fun game. It's a fun game to watch if you're a Yankee hater again, just like I always say. Good one. Go watch it. It's a fun watch, especially
It's
if you like
good
pitching. Watching Schilling and Clemens duel.
Yeah, great.
It's a lot of fun. A good watch.
Great.
I liked it.
Well, now that you've thoroughly
So-
touched my dark spot, we're going to take a break. And just kidding. But when we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we've got a couple of questions from our listeners and my new segment. So let's do it.
No matter which ballpark you're at, you want to rep your team. Now you can with 9+ Us. Welcome to the Big City Series. With every design available in your team's colors, you can fit in with the home crowd or stand out on the road. Either way, we have the colors you crave. Shop the Big City Series and find designs that rep your favorite baseball podcast, cheer from the cheap seats, and much more. Shop the Big City Series only at 9plusus.com.
Welcome back, baseball family. Before we wrap up this segment, we got a couple of things we want to bring you. First, thanks to Alexander Trout, one of our faithful group members, I was brought it was brought to my awareness that we need to talk about a very special thing in baseball culture, memorabilia.
Yeah.
Okay? Specifically signed memorabilia. All right? Now, Alexander Trout, he sent me this link. And I'm going to tell you what it is, and I want you to think for a moment. How much would you pay for this? Okay? That's the kind of the way I want to go with these segments. How much would you pay for this? Or maybe how much do you think somebody would pay for this? So that's what I want to know. This is a Mariano Rivera. Thank you for bringing him up earlier. Perfect segue. Mariano Rivera signed Yankee Stadium used pitching rubber. Now, this is from the bullpen. It was there from July, I think, 16th through maybe the 25th, so it got about a 10-day lifespan. It is fully authenticated. Everything about it is above board. There's photographs of him signing this item with his Sharpie. And now this wasn't something that was used by the Yankees because it was in Yankee Stadium, and it was their visitors' bullpen pitching rubber. Okay, so
Okay.
I don't know why he's signing it, but he is. Okay, so it's used, game used. How much do you think is the minimum price?
Is that
for this?
old Yankee
It's on
Stadium?
eBay.
Is that old Yankee Stadium or new Yankee Stadium?
New, because it was
New.
2010. Wasn't
Okay.
2009 was their last year, right?
Okay.
So
I forget. I can't remember. I think that's right.
now I hope I'm right because it make me feel like a dummy if I got that wrong.
No, I think you're right.
I don't know.
2009.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
2009. Now I have to look. Oh, man, I feel so
Yeah,
stupid.
I want to look. But I'm trying to think. 2008 was the last one, so yeah, you're safe.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
That's right. Okay.
All right.
I'm trying to think of events from that summer that would remind me, and that actually makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
Oh gosh, I honestly don't know, just because I don't pay attention to the memorabilia market because I don't have that kind of money.
Right. Yes. That is a worthy part of this discussion.
I would think somewhere like 50 grand, something like that.
50 grand for a game used visitors bullpen
Mhm.
signed by Mariano Rivera. I'm gonna tell you, you're way too high, which is good news.
Oh, am I? Okay. So I lose
Like-
lose prices right.
It's way too. The price is wrong, Bob, or whatever. Okay, anyway. Oh my gosh, those are good memories. All right, this is going for $1,100.
$1,100. Wow, that's honestly that seems like a
$1,100.
steal.
It seems more reasonable than I originally thought.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it's still $1,100. We're still talking over $1,000 for a pitching rubber he probably never used, not during a game.
Right.
So that's interesting. But it is a pitching rubber signed by one of the greatest pitchers of all time,
Mm-hmm.
who's now
What
in the
were
Hall
those-
of
what were
Fame,
those
first
dates
unanimous ever.
What were those dates again?
July. Hold on. 16 to 25. July 16 to 25, 2010.
Because I'm curious who they played, who would have used that. You got like the Rays. Yeah, I don't. 1100 might be right then. It's the
Yeah.
Rays.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, so
Yeah.
the question I have for you is, if this was your favorite player ever, would you spend $1,100 on that, on a signed pitching rubber?
if I had the money, I probably would. Because if I had the
It's-
money to be collecting and things like that, but honestly, like for me, $1,100 is quite a bit.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, if I was a collector and he was my favorite player, for sure, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, or
so what
if
would
I had
you
somewhere
pay
to
for?
display it? Yeah.
Right, exactly. So what would you pay for it right now? Given your current circumstances, if you knew that Mariano Rivera, you could get this and you could put it in the background of the podcast or whatever, which is exactly what I thought. I was like, ooh, I could put it right here.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Maybe
love Mo.
Maybe I'll have it on the green screen.
Ooh. Anyway, that's
yeah, I don't know.
that's the question.
I don't know,
Yeah.
because that's honestly something I don't really think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, what would you pay for
I
it?
thought it
What
was
would you be willing
interesting.
to pay for it?
You know, I would when my current situation, the way things are looking, I would probably pay. I would. Too bad baseball bats are $200 because I would probably pay $250 for that. Like I could, if somebody came to me and said $200, I'd be like, shut up and take my money.
Yeah, I'd probably do the same. $200.
I'll do it right now.
Yeah.
$300, my wife probably beat me, But $200, I could probably
Yeah.
explain away. Be like, look, babe.
Yeah, I think 200, 250 even. Like if it was
Yeah.
like a Randy Johnson
Right.
signed pitching rubber, I'd probably throw 200, 250, maybe 300. I'd probably get beat up for 300.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, I'll do this every once in a while. We'll talk about memorabilia. I think it's fun. Thanks, Alexander Trout. This was a good
right
one.
on.
All right. A couple of questions from the group. Brad, Denise Cantu wants to know, what are your thoughts on the Major League Baseball counting this shortened or postponed season toward Lynch and Lunau's punishments?
AJ Hinch.
Oh, Hinch.
Luhnow.
Sorry. Hinch.
No, that's fine.
What did I say? Lynch?
Lynch.
Hinch.
Yeah. I think it's.
What do you think?
I think it's bogus, honestly, because they're basically getting this exact same punishment as everybody else. That, we didn't get baseball this year. We didn't get paid. A lot of players aren't going to get paid this year. I do think that the fact their punishment will basically be extended, but not by Major League Baseball, but by teams, saying we don't want Lunau in the front office. We don't want Hinch here because he doesn't have control of his clubhouse.
Right.
So there is that, but at the same time, as far as Major League Baseball sanctioned punishment, no, they've got to be like, if there are not games, you will not be punished because you're not missing anything. As soon as there are games, that's when your punishment will be started. And if they play a 100-game season and they missed a 100-game season, I'm fine with that. If they play a 75, 60-game season, whatever, which I don't think is going to be the case, but if they play a 10-game season, if they just played a playoff, whatever, and they're suspended for that, I'm fine as long as they miss games. But in this case, like if there is no season, they do not miss games. They do not miss out on anything. And I think that's weak.
See, I think anything under 110, 100, 112, something like that, then it should be extended. It should be extended into the next full season. Yeah, anything under 100 games would be a joke to accept as punishment.
Yeah, and I can see that reasoning, especially if you were to say a full season is 162 games, you miss 162 games.
Right.
Because I feel like that's
fair.
If you get your second suspension for PEDs, it's one season and they make it 162 games.
That's right. Yeah, no,
So.
you're absolutely right.
So
In the
I think
one
that's
instance
fair,
they
but-
punish players.
Yeah, exactly. And that's only because players have called for it.
That's right.
Yeah, no, it's
So-
no, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to move on to the next question.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Last question. Tiff, my wife Tiff, she just said, can we just please have more conversation about surviving quarantine without baseball? I feel like that's all we do. But Brad, do you have some tips? I know you're doing your SNES game. We do the game of the
yeah.
week. Did you have an SNES moment?
For this week, no, because it's going horribly. I'm actually a couple days behind. I need to play like a doubleheader or something like that tonight to get caught up. But
That's
no, it's
fair.
It's not going good. Not going well.
Okay.
So I purposely
need
took that off the lineup this week.
No, Brad. No, we need an update. You can't dodge it like that. What are you talking about?
My defense. I will say this: my defense is improving. My pitching is regressing. How about that?
Man.
Giving up a lot of home runs these days. That's yeah.
You're playing with
that's
the
pretty much-
Mariners, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. I couldn't help it.
You would expect that with the Mariners too, so that's fine. It's fine.
It's
But other than
fine.
that, I mean, watching my game of the week, Wilson is actually it's warmed up here. It's kind of nice. It rained yesterday. Grass is really wet right now, so we weren't able to go out and hit balls today. But Wilson's been wanting to go out and hit wiffle balls every single day. And man, like I might need to scoot back a little bit because he's tagged me a few times pretty good with those balls. He's squaring it up, man.
He's killing it. You should show the
our
video
backyard
clip.
right now. Yeah. So there's that one, but I wanted to get one on video a couple days ago. Our backyard where we hit is pretty long. It's probably, for wiffle balls, it's probably about 50 feet, something like that. I don't know exactly what it is. But he hit a couple over the fence the other day from where he was. And when I swing as hard as I can, I have a hard time getting it out. So he's squaring it up, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he used to hold the bat right down at the knob, and then the other day I was like, you know what, that bat might be a little long for you. I was like, choke up. I showed him where to put his hands, like choke up to right here, And so his hands will scoot down and remind him, and he'll choke back up and hit a few in a row. But even with his hands choked up an inch or so, he's creaming it, man. He hits it real hard, hits it real far. So
yeah,
that's what we're doing. We do need to work on catch with him a little bit, so I think we're going to be doing that more pretty soon.
Yeah,
but yeah, we're having a lot of fun just playing out in the yard. That the weather's nice, which is lucky now, but we're having a good time with all that.
That's cool.
What about you? What are you doing? What are you doing during quarantine?
Well, we're diving into the vault, right? MLB is the vault. It's on YouTube, and we watch old games. We watch a lot of highlight reels as well. We don't have the opportunity to be too active just with our current situation, but
right, yeah.
We would be throwing a ball a lot, but
yeah.
And I have buddies that say, "Hey, can you come throw a ball with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you can come to me maybe, but
yeah.
But it's good. So I'm doing that. I actually bought RBI 20 for the Xbox, so I've been playing a little bit of that.
How is that? How is that game?
It's really great. It's really hard.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really hard though. It's like really hard to hit the ball. So
That's the way baseball games are now, though. Like
Yeah.
I had the show on my PS2, and I was terrible at hitting, absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I hear a lot of good things about the show, and if I had a PlayStation, I would have that one. But but RBI 20, it's been good. It's been a lot of fun. It's much easier to pitch than it is to hit, which I can't tell if that's realistic or not. But at any rate,
I don't know.
We're doing that. That's pretty much it. And then we design T-shirts and hats and stuff, and we do a lot of that.
Yeah,
which is good. So stay tuned for more of that stuff because we're going to drop more stuff. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I've speaking of RBI baseball, I have actually said that I think my next system will be a PlayStation, just so that I can get the show because man, the game looks it's awesome. Like I said, I played on PS2 and it's a blast. I can't imagine what it is now.
Yeah, I for sure. I almost went with PS4 just for the show. That was.
Yeah.
I just have friends like you and other friends that they all have Xboxes, so I went with an Xbox. But
Yeah.
and I haven't owned a gaming system in 15 years. Okay, so this is totally new to me all over again. I mean, it came back really fast. Don't get me wrong. All my addictions like rear their ugly head, but it's really good.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, we're that's what we're doing. What are you guys doing, listeners? We want to know, listeners and viewers. How you getting your baseball? Tell us, please, because we would love more ideas.
Yeah, the more you share, the more everybody can do together. So
That's right.
We can do baseball together.
That's right. Oh, look what you did.
There it is.
I'll tell you, the best place to share that kind of information is on the 9+Us VIP group on Facebook. It is, you search 9+Us and then go to groups, and it's the 9+Us VIPs right off the product or the company page. You can search 9+Us VIPs right in Facebook, and it come up that way. We let people in every day, new people. So jump on there, send us an invitation request, and we'll add you, and you can jump on in and be part of the family. That's what we want.
Right on. And don't forget to jump on the shop either. You can shop. We've got Brig mentioned making hats, T-shirts, awesome stuff. Got my Corona mask on the way. You can get yours too. And jump on baseballtogether.com. You can watch the podcast, listen to the podcast. And baseball family, everybody stay safe. And we will catch you next week.